Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today on today's webinar for how to smarten up your time tracking. I'm Eric Vittardi, and on today's live webinar, we're going to be discussing a little bit about how we can make your time tracking more efficient, reduce administrative burden, and simplify your time tracking production processes in the field. Today will be a live webinar, so if you do have any questions or comments, we encourage you to participate by utilizing the chat box on the right-hand side. All participants will be muted, but if you do have any questions, we will be monitoring the chat throughout the process, and my direct contact information will be available at the end of the presentation. Foundation Software has a number of other products in its portfolio that may be able to help you with your needs out in the field and in the back office. That includes Foundation Software and accounting software just for construction companies, HQ Suite, a great way to manage your safety, project, and crew-related needs wherever you might be, Payroll for Construction, a service that will help you deliver your payroll needs to your team specifically for construction companies out in the field. McCormick, an estimating solution designed specifically for electrical and mechanical contractors. Estimating Edge, a software designed for estimating in roofing, fireproofing, interior walls, ceilings, interior and exterior finishes. And finally, WorkMax, which we'll be talking here today, the best-in-class timekeeping solution out there. For the WorkMax time tracking module, it's a cloud-based performance platform that helps your team clock in and clock out, utilize a foreman clock out, or group time cards as necessary. It's a fantastic way to track and manage where your team is, what they're doing, and what job costing is associated with each task that your team's reviewing on the project. WorkMax Time is a great way to also manage GPS location stamps, biometric facial recognition, offline access. It has the ability to track and manage teams within Spanish and English, and seamless integration to whatever accounting solution you may be using. And with that said, let's take a look at the app and see what options that we have available for our employees to clock in or clock out. You'll notice here, Arthur Cashman is ready to begin his day. And his screen is very simple, straightforward, and easy to collect. Now I'm on an iPad. This is a little bit of a larger device, but any iPhone, tablet, whatever other item you might be using would be simple and easy at this process as well. But for Arthur, his screen's really simple. He only has the option to clock in or clock out. Once he hits clock in, it's going to show Arthur his face up in the top left. It's going to have the option for Arthur's name right here, his job, and then we're going to require a cost code for Arthur. We can limit what options he had based on the job, based on his employee group, a number of factors that will limit either his cost code or task, whatever you might call it. And all of this information, whether it's the cost code, the employee, or the job, is all coming from your accounting software. So it's simple and easy to use, it's seamlessly integrated, and makes this process very simple for your employees. Now you'll see, we have Arthur's name, we got the job, we have the cost code information. There's no notes necessary for Arthur. We're just going to go ahead and clock in. Great. And it's as simple as that. We've created a clock in record. Throughout this process now, Arthur will go ahead and work throughout his normal day. Arthur's been working for a minute and a half, a minute and some change now. He's ready to call it a day. He's had a long day and he's ready to clock out. So we'll hit clock out. Again, we've limited this now. We just have Arthur's name, just a note. I have a time review portion here, so this is a good area for Arthur to clock in and manage this time review. He can sign off on this showing that he's completed his time record. He hits save, confirm, and Arthur's done. It's really that simple and easy. That's the simplest and easiest way to collect information from your team's field. All of this is going to go into the time editor, which we're going to look at here in a moment. But from that perspective, it's pretty straightforward. We don't want to add any complexity to your employees' clock in or clock out process. And while I'm doing this on my own individual iPad, this can be done from a shared device. This can be done, again, from an Android, tablet, whatever your team might be using in the field. Now I'll show you one other option here in case maybe I'm a foreman or something along those lines that wants to gather time for a group of employees. I have the ability right here to go ahead and hit Create Timesheet. Great. Simply hit Create Time. I can select all the employees from my group. I'm just going to select a couple of these folks here just as an example. Fantastic. Great. I can add any allocations such as jobs, cost codes, things along those lines. But in this case, I want to go ahead and save that record. I have all of my employees' time in here in real time. So if I did need to make a change, let's say Greg Hamilton in this case, he only worked 7 hours, he showed up a little bit later, whatever that might be, I can make those changes in line directly on my device. I can also select multiple employees. I can make edits to potentially their cost code, their job, whatever that might be. These folks might have been working on a different cost code for the day. I can highlight those pretty simply and easily here. I can also sign off on a number of employees as a foreman or a crew leader here as well too. So all my options are in one place, pretty simple and straightforward. We may not allow this to be accessible for all your employees in the field. This is typically done by foremen or crew leaders. But again, it just shows the simplicity of time collection from whoever that may be, foreman, crew leader, or whoever that is on the team. So that was the phone portion of things. Let's go ahead and take a look over at the time editor, where we're going to review all the time that was collected from the field and make edits, adjustments, reviews as necessary before this goes into our payroll or accounting software. So here you'll see our time editor. In my display screen, we're using a couple different tablets and devices here today, but you'll see some basic icons such as tags, total hours, first, last name, job, cost code, pay code, sign-offs, and some other things like that. This is completely editable, as you'll notice on the left-hand side, so we can get the items that are most important to you. This is very configurable based on the type of work you do and what's important and what we're tracking. Additionally, in the background, we'll get into some settings and things like that where we can get in here and see what's important to us, notify us if somebody's working too many hours in a day, set up scheduled lunches, per diems, overtimes, things like that. But we'll see that in just a moment. What I'd like to call your attention here to right now is you'll see my name, my job, what have you. And on the left-hand side, these tags are going to indicate anything that falls outside of our normal parameters or ranges, really anything that needs attention as part of that time review. So you'll see here there's a red globe. That's going to indicate that our GPS recognition experienced a failure or something that was outside the boundaries. But I'll go ahead on here and take a look and see this GPS map. So I can see that my job is located here somewhere in Utah. But my geofence was about 1,500 miles away, so not at the job site. I can see if I zoom in really specifically exactly where I was when I clocked in and when I clocked out. And for those of you that are familiar with Foundation Software's headquarters, this is exactly where I was at when I did my clock in, clock out. This is where my office is actually at technically, so this is very specific, within a couple of meters or feet most of the time, to give you an idea of what we're looking for. But the idea here is this red icon is going to show only things that really need attention. So rather than having to look at every GPS location or coordinates or what have you, this is going to highlight the issues that need more attention, potentially may need to be resolved by you or an administrator. You'll see some other notes as we look at the time here, namely notes. We can see sign-offs by employees, crew leaders, who signed off on that and when. We can go ahead and see some facial recognition examples as well. So I passed this facial recognition. That's why we didn't get an alert on this. But you will see, although it's a rough look here, that it's still 99.99% accurate. So this is confirming that this is who we say it is and who we need. Again, only grabbing our attention on the left-hand side if and when we get a failure. So you don't have to look at these each and every time. Any forms that the employee may have included, any exemptions related to lunches or things along those lines would be included in this part as well too. And then from here, I can go ahead and review. I can allocate and make changes to jobs, cost codes, trades, classification, tasks, whatever they may be in your timekeeping software. And then from here, I would simply hit batch. And this would head off onto my accounting software. There's no duplicate entry of time cards. There's no potential errors in doing that duplicate entry. There's a whole bunch of time that's saved as part of that process as well too. So you have a lot of options. And that's really as simple as it is. All of this time can be reviewed by employee, department, job, employee group, whoever you might need to get in here, make these reviews, accesses, and reviews you have all in one place. Additionally, as I go in here, You'll notice we do have a full grid timesheet for those that are doing some larger jobs. This doesn't apply to everybody, but if you were getting into a situation in which you wanted to clock in a whole group of employees for the day, you could. And I'll go ahead and do that. You'll see some quick examples here based on employee. You can go ahead and select what cost codes they're working, how many hours, and just make those selections simply and easily. And then finally, I'll take us over to the settings area where we can review just a couple of things. There's a lot of areas that we can get into from a configurations and setting perspective. So certainly if you do have questions, if you work, complicated prevailing wage, or if you have overtime rules or things like that that you want to make sure that WorkMax can handle, number one, I'm pretty confident in saying we probably can. The system's been around a long time. We work specifically in construction, so any type of headache that you might run into, any type of concern you might have on the job site, generally speaking, we've seen it and we've solved for it. But that being said, again, after this call, we'd love to set up a personalized demo or, drop that in the questions below at this time right now. But this just gives us a couple of quick examples where we can set up perimeters, defaults, let us know, hey, alert us if somebody exceeds a certain amount of hours on a job site, or for the geofencing, we want to set up some defaults, or we just want to use the address and build it around that each time. Again, a lot of settings that we can get into here. That includes a lot of things such as overtime rules and how we can apply them, per diems, pay codes, things along those lines as well too. And then the last thing I'll probably leave you here with in the settings area would be something like a shift, right? Again, this is fairly complicated. Maybe you don't deal with shifts that often, but this is granular enough that we can handle a first shift employee, a second shift employee. We can handle the float related to that shift. And then we can even set up different lunch parameters. There's 6 different ways to do lunch in here. If you don't want your group clocking in and clocking out, that's great. We have the ability to monitor that lunch in here as we go. We can set that up to be automated. If they work 4 hours, they get a 30-minute lunch, or, apply that at noon every day, or, maybe at the end of the day or after a certain amount of hours. I only highlight this to just show you the kind of detail that we can get into when we're doing these types of demonstrations and setting these types of things up. You're not in here on a daily basis. You're not even in here probably on a weekly or monthly basis, but it's just really highlighting that whatever complexities or nuances you may have to your payroll, WorkMax is there, and WorkMax is ready to handle it for you from there. So that's pretty much all we have on this time editor section. Again, this will get batched off, sent over to your accounting, and it is ready to go so you can run payroll and process it while saving a whole bunch of time and effort. Well, thanks everyone for listening and watching a little bit today. Obviously, that's only a very small portion of what WorkMax can do, but we just want to give you an idea of how WorkMax timekeeping can help your team track and manage their time, and a whole bunch of other processes such as production and other items from the field. So I know some of you have already sent in some questions. I can see those coming along on the right-hand side here too. But if you do have any questions, now's a great time to enter those in the chat box, and we can take a look at those questions right now. We'll go ahead and get started actually with that first question that Terry has asked. So Terry was asking us here, will WorkMax work with QuickBooks for me? Yes. So it will work with a number of accounting softwares. That's kind of like the beauty of this as we get into the detail. Lots of flexibility that can connect in with QuickBooks, a lot of the Sage products, Vista, Foundation, you name it, Jonas, whatever, we can certainly connect with those too. So unless you got something really off the wall that we haven't heard of, no concerns or questions there. And you'll see now too, just a little question for you, a little poll to kind of help. So this just helps us in the background to kind of get an idea audience-wise what we might be looking to do. And we got some quick entries already. So manual entry errors, inconsistent data, looks like wasted time and inefficient processes are up there as well too. We didn't get into that, but you see the other option there as far as lack of real-time visibility. That's a really key component to this as a whole. And I don't remember getting through this in this whole presentation, but the beauty of collecting the hours and the time from the employees with a method or with a solution like this is you can see what you're tracking hours wise towards a job without having to wait for a payroll cycle. So you get the beauty of getting an idea of what your hours look like on a job or a project without having to wait for that whole that whole project to be completed as you go to. So, again, my contact information is right down there on the bottom right hand side there. If you do have any questions or if you would like to connect, I'm sure folks might have some individual questions and things like that too. I'd be happy to help in any way that I can. Just give me a shout here, and we can always connect up for a personalized demo, or you can just shoot me an email with some questions that you might have. The last thing, big thing that I am now realizing that I forgot to mention as part of this process as well too, is this is all supported, trained, and managed by our team internally, right? So we don't use the dealer method. You're not going to get any third parties that are going to set you up, train you, maybe answer your support. All of our support, training, all that kind of stuff is done in-house. So you are going to select or talk to one of our employees as part of that process too. So if you do have a question, you do have a concern, you do have a comment, you're going to be talking to us. You're not going to be dealing with somebody, in a different country for a different company or any of those things as you go. It's all going to be folks on our side that can help with that too. What type of device would you recommend for the job site? Lucas asked this question a minute or so ago. That's a good one as well too. I always tell people use the device that you feel most comfortable with, right? We work pretty much the same with an iPhone, an Android, a tablet, what have you. Oftentimes, I'll see a combination of different types of devices as well. So maybe you want to use like a kiosk mode and you have an iPad for folks that either don't have a phone or maybe you don't want them to clock in through a phone. Great. You can use a combination of an iPad, and then for the rest of your employees, you want to go ahead and do something along the lines of like, just using their phones, and that kind of highlights, the big thing here is this is designed to meet your employees where they're at. So if they already have an iPhone and you want to use it on their device, we're going to work fine with an iPhone. Same would go the other way too. If you need some more details or you need some more information from a foreman or a crew leader, if they're already using an iPad or a tablet that they're familiar with, no need to change what you got. We can work with what you have there. So yeah, that's a good question, Lucas. Thanks. Um, Yeah, and then Amanda's asking on pricing too. That'll kind of depend. We have a couple of different modules, and it's going to depend on like size of, number of employees and things like that too. So it is pretty flexible. We can do that a couple of different ways. But yes, obviously, your price is pretty key. Let's talk about that in email or a call if you'd like to. Just need some more information to get you some accurate info there. I see some folks who they got what they need, so we're kind of dwindling down here a little bit too. But if you do have any additional questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'll be here for another couple of minutes. Oh, good question. This might be the last question that we take on here too as we go. But question from Luis asking, or Luis, I can't tell exactly here. Is this available in English and Spanish? Yes, is the answer. This is fully available in both English and Spanish. So again, meeting your employees where they're at when we get into these types of solutions as well too. That's a really big piece of this puzzle too. So fully available in English and Spanish, making it really accessible for your whole team. Regardless of what needs they may have or their language preferences as well too. So, yep. Alrighty. Well, if that's it, if nobody has any further questions, I may excuse myself. But again, you guys, I'll leave this up here for a little bit further. If you do have any questions, reach out to me either through that phone number, that email, and I'd be happy to help you with all those items as we go. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great day.